on, guys? You could tell from that last clip exactly what's going on today. We are busting apart the OE taillights. I want to do a couple of things. I want to modify the way that they look with the lighting. I want to throw some LEDs in here, some strips, some crazy stuff, try to make it look really cool. And we're going to see what we can do about it and how cool we can make it look with, the stock housings. And then maybe also paint and smoke this lens a little bit, which you can see I got off. So we have pretty clear access to everything now. We can get rid of this stupid thing. We don't need that. Those things are ugly. I hate looking through here and being able to see that orange. So even if you wanted to just take it apart, just to take that out, that could be totally a thing that you do, and then throw an amber bulb in there instead. So that's what some people do. But apparently I've heard that people smash it and they take it out from the back, but that's not really something that I'm looking to do. So I think what I will do, however, is I want to make something that will go on the back side of this so that I have nice looking lights. I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. I think I was going to do some sort of outline with the LEDs. Like I want to get by something that I can outline this here and here, maybe just do like all that whole section with a nice outline, and then have it maybe fill in for the brake light. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with this. But now that I have it apart, I can kind of plan and map out what I have space for and what I can do. And I just wanted to make sure that I could, in fact, take it off. So I heated up in front of the propane heater for a while, just with my hand to get the whole temperature up. And then I kind of just went around with a heat gun and softened up all the glue until I could get some screwdrivers to pry on all the little tabs all the way around. And I think in the end, to get this back together, I'm either going to scrape this stuff out and throw some 3M strip adhesive in there, or just heat up this stock glue and squeeze it back in. But I don't really like doing that because I don't want these to leak. So I'll probably end up adding a little bit of something after I get all this grime out. I'm not sure if this piece comes out. Probably does. This piece definitely does come out. We're probably going to leave this in there just so you don't see through to anything. But yeah, all in all, not too bad actually to pull these apart. I think I did end up breaking it in the bottom corner. I'm not sure if it was already cracked or if I broke it. But this piece is it's kind of hanging out there. So when I clean all the crud off, I will eventually try to glue him back on probably. It doesn't really affect anything on the front of the lens, so I'm happy about that. But I think when I was prying up in this corner, I might have broke this one. So just be cautious of that and be careful. It doesn't really matter for me. But I'm going to go ahead and plan out what we're going to put in this for lights. But that's how we're going to go ahead and take these lights apart. So guys, it's been a couple of days, maybe even a few days, and I've been not really doing too much. I did make some cardboard templates here. As you saw, I got my lenses pulled off. I'm set up down here in the basement because it's warm and it's a nice place to work. So I have right here, I've been waiting on parts. I got my LEDs, like I think I showed you before. I got some white, and I also got yellow. And I also put in an order for some red ones because I think red are the correct ones to use for this section. I was going to use white so they'd be brighter, but I don't really think that's going to be an issue. I think they're going to be plenty bright enough with the way that I'm going to set them up. And so I ordered some red ones and an LED strip, and obviously you saw my modules here. And this came in as well, this is basically acrylic. So my idea for this, the reason I bought this really thick acrylic, it's 1/2 inch thick. I'm going to make some rip cuts of this stuff here and hopefully do my outline with it and bend it and do all the things that I have to do and sit it inside of this actual housing, and that way I can put the LED strip behind it and have sort of like a outlined area, which, that's the plan. I'm hoping that it turns out like I want. I'm going to have to definitely do some tests and make some test strips and see how everything turns out. So I'm still waiting on the LED strips, but I can at least start cutting up some of this tonight and messing with that and seeing what exactly what I want to do and how it's going to work by heating everything up and allowing me to bend it. So I'm going to go start on this stuff tonight, and I'll show you guys what kind of progress I make. So you guys can see I have my taillight here, and I've been making these little pieces. I went ahead and cut these out on the table saw, got them sanded down nicely, and what happens is they kind of get hazy, which I want because it kind of adds like that frosted effect. You can still kind of see through it, but at the same time it's a bit diffused, which I like. I don't want you to actually see the individual LEDs. We'll see if you're able to see them through here, but hopefully it diffuses it a little bit. But I do have this one straight piece, and then I was going to make these guys. What I did to actually bend it was I put it in the oven at like 300 degrees, just enough. I kept checking it, and you know, it honestly wasn't too long. I'll get better specs and everything once I do it a little more and get more comfortable with it, but I just put it on some tin foil, and once it was nice and warm, I took the piece and I just basically pressed it in here, and that was able to give me the shape that I wanted. You just make sure you press it in here the right way, and you get the nice curvature going on. And then once you get it all curved, I put it in here, and I made the ends nicely trimmed up so I could get them looking like I wanted. So now that sits in there nicely, and I just gotta put some glue and glue those down. After I get all the LEDs routed, I'll just be able to go ahead and glue these down and then run wires out the back. And this is all going to be covered with the panel as well. I've got some thinner stuff here that I'm going to go ahead and make a piece for, and then that'll house all my individual LEDs that go here that come on when you tap on the brakes. So I still have a lot of work to do, but I'm going to go ahead and get to making more of these pieces, and then I'll be able to make that little inner area, and then I'm going to start figuring out where I'm going to place all my LEDs. Alright guys, so I made this next piece here, which is the inner layer. This is where I'm going to have all of my LEDs. I went ahead and covered it with some tape so I can draw on it. I have measurements set up that I'm going to take, and I'm going to space it 5 LEDs in a row here, and I'm going to carry that out through this whole thing. And I'm just going to continue the same spacing 9/16 of an inch apart. So I got to do all my measurements and markups and make a bunch of dots and drill a bunch of holes. But that's only after I figure out exactly what size hole I need, which I'm going to wait for the LEDs to come in. But I do have over here something that was made a long time ago, back when my dad was going to electrical school. He built this. So this is pretty cool. It's basically a variable power supply regulator, and it does a lot more than that too. But we're not going to use most of the features on here, but just to power up a simple LED and show you guys what's going on, I have this thing set up. So we got positive and ground here, and this is our little voltage regulator. So I'm setting it right now about 2 volts, and I'm able to measure that with the multimeter. So it's hard to do this with 2 hands, but if I put both of these guys on here like this, you'll see that our multimeter will read, well, it should have read 2 volts, but I accidentally turned it up with the dial. But basically, we're sending these guys 2 volts, and that's about what they want as far as what I'm researching. So I need to do a little bit more research and figure out exactly how I'm going to wire them. But you run them basically 5 LEDs in a row, and then a resistor to drop the voltage down just a little bit more, and that should give us our desired resistance in the whole circuit. And we'll wire them in series, but all the different series loops will be in parallel, so that if something burns out, it doesn't take out the whole string. But we don't anticipate to have any burnouts. All the LEDs are going to be tested and make sure that they all work before we put it together. But this is just the process here. I'm just showing you guys powering this thing up, and I'm still waiting on my red LEDs. I've only got the white ones and this orange one, or amber, for the turn signal. So we're going to wait for the rest of this stuff to come in, and we'll be able to do some further testing and maybe even plan a circuit out on this breadboard here. Alright guys, I think that's going to sum it up for this particular video. It's probably getting to a decent length at this point. Hopefully I have enough footage, but this is where I'm at. I have my signal section made, and I got some grids traced out. Not really sure. I tried to keep the same angle going on. Looks like I kept the same angle because these are kind of on a little angle. Now the goal is going to be to replicate this with the other taillight, which I haven't even taken off the car yet. So I still have to do all that work, and maybe I'll show a little bit more of that. And if you guys have questions, throw them down in the comments of this video, and I'll be able to answer them before I do the next one, or maybe show something that I need to clarify, because I want you guys to fully get this. I'm going to try to explain it as best as I can, but this is just grinding fabrication. I mean, all that's involved in this is just precise stuff. Cutting on the bandsaw, which I cut the rough shape out for this on the bandsaw, and once I have it all cut out, I'll take it over to the belt sander here, and I'll just run it along here and make the curvature, or do whatever I have to do using like Sharpie lines and sanding off the lines, just so I know where I gotta take material away from. And then eventually you have something that fits pretty nicely. And you guys saw the oven forming upstairs that I was doing. This one actually heated up too much, so when you're working with really thin stuff like this, you don't really have to heat it up too much at 300 degrees. I got this stuff like molten. Like when I picked it up, it was like bleh in my hand, and I was like, oh no. But it still came out good. I just threw it on the back side of the taillight and pressed it down, and then I ran it under cold water just to solidify it. So that worked out really well, and this has a good shape to it as well. So this fits in there really nice, just like this one does too. So we got some good fitment here and here. So we're gonna try to do it all over again on the other side using my cardboard templates. I should be able to, wherever they are, here they are. I should be able to replicate on the other side just by tracing the opposite side and then starting from the same piece here. Yeah, so that's that. If you guys have questions, let me know. I still have to make the reverse light and do some more little acrylic stuff there, but I'm gonna work on that on the off-camera time, and I'll show you guys the progress that I make. I need to figure out how to wire these LEDs. I wanted to give a quick shout out to a couple of people that hit up the Patreon, a couple of buddies of mine, but I totally appreciate their help. Brendan and Bill there. You guys may not know them, but they're very near and dear to me, and they support me, and they've always been there and watching the videos, and I do appreciate them. If they're watching, hopefully they watched all the way to the end. I'll know if they're watching. But anyway, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate your support, and I just reached out on Facebook, and there were a lot of people that were excited to hear from me on there, which is pretty cool. Pretty humbling to know that there's people out there that know my name and know what I do, so that's pretty cool, and I appreciate the support, guys. And I'm going to try to keep cranking out these videos through winter to keep you guys entertained. I'm going to try to ramp it up. I know that it's a struggle for me. Just know that because there's not really much for me to do as far as show you guys, and sometimes I think stuff's boring, but I should just be sharing it anyway, just because I know that it's all part of the process, and that's what you guys want to see. So I will try to make as many videos as I possibly can. Try to go for one a week. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Follow me on Instagram. Hit me up on Facebook. I mean, probably won't be able to find me on Facebook unless I make some sort of link to that. So I'll figure out how to link me on there, and you guys can ask questions on there too if you want. Send me messages, and I'll try to be available on there as well. So thank you, guys, and see you in the next one.